Shut up, Tim. I've had enough of your shit. Is this a bit of a dick, basically? Velveteen? I've got to stop winking and pointing at the camera. I look like a twat. If Tesco actually sold self-confidence, I'm pretty sure they'd be sold out. Or it's alcohol. Not the same thing, just to be very clear on that. But yeah, self-confidence is something that everyone seems to want. And I did a poll on my Instagram recently. You can follow me at just live glitching if you're interested in that sort of thing. But I did a poll and see what people wanted information on. And self-confidence, the amount of people that voted for it compared to my number of followers was absolutely insane. So here I am providing that information. So this is part one. There's going to be probably 3 parts because I've got a lot to say on this. So hopefully you find this interesting. So I'm relatively convinced, although I have no proof, that our self-confidence is made up of all the different things that we feel self-confident doing. So we get to actually make up our own rules. I mean, if we could decide that our self-confidence was based upon how well we make a cup of tea, or how good we are at turning on taps, or how good we are at sitting down, all things which are really come absolutely naturally, like to us as humans, we could decide that our self-confidence was based upon that, but we simply just don't. And that is to our detriment. Basically, there's a whole load of other people's opinions and shit that, just affects our self-confidence when it doesn't need to. And the reason I say shit is because I actually mean, because it's a load of shit, basically. It's things that are made up. The game is rigged against us because it's things that we have absolutely no control of whatsoever, yet we let ourselves worry about it. More on that later. But let's be clear, we're talking about self-confidence, not someone else's confidence, self-confidence. So if you want to decide that you are making your self-confidence based on your ability to use a teaspoon, that's fine. If that's what you want to base your self-confidence on and it helps you, go for it. Not sure why there's so many tea references. Give me a second. I'd like to picture now someone who is self-confident in your mind. What would they look like? What are they able to do? Can they talk in front of a camera like this confidently? Can they talk in front of a group of people in person confidently? Can they walk up to people they fancy and talk to them? Are they, can they post photos on their social media without worrying about it? What is it that they can do? But then, you need to take a cross section of that and actually ask, what out of that stuff do I want to be able to do? Do I care that I can't talk in front of a camera? Do I care I can't walk up to people of the opposite sex or whatever? Does it matter? Is that what self-confident you is all about? You need to make up your own rules as to what self-confidence is and means to you and what self-confidence would allow you to do, not allow other people to do. Hopefully that makes sense. Now this video is designed to help you increase your self-confidence. This is part 1 of probably 3 because I've got a lot to say, but we're going to start off with number 1, which is an annoying home truth. Going to start with a brutal gut punch here, that confidence comes after the act. You can't, people say, oh, if I was more confident then I would do this. If only I was more confident then I would do that. But that's not how it works. You have to get the confidence by doing the act so that then the next time you do the thing, the act, or whatever, it then becomes easier because you're more confident. Everyone wants the confidence first before they do the thing, but that's not how it works, I'm afraid. I'd love it to be, but you know yourself already that isn't true. Think about all the things that you feel confident in, whether that's brushing your teeth or baking a cake or driving a car, whatever it might be. All of those things you have become confident at because you've repeated them time and time and time again. I remember myself when I was learning to drive, that when I used to come up to a roundabout and about 50 yards before the roundabout, I'd be like, oh shit, I have to stop, I have to look, I have to pull away at the right time, I have to signal, I have to change gear perhaps, I have to go round the roundabout, I have to make sure my rope isn't, I've got to watch out for other cars as I go around. How do I possibly do that all at the same time? Oh my God, it's absolutely terrifying. But when I actually sat down and wrote this blog, I was thinking about that and I realised that I'd just driven over like 5 roundabouts, not literally driven over them, like correctly driven. I'd navigated the 5 roundabouts successfully without even thinking about it. And the only reason that is not because roundabouts have changed, it's because I've just been around so many roundabouts now that I don't even have to think about it. I just know what to do. So I've become confident by repeating it over and over. And the same is for you, no matter what you want to be self-confident at. So here's the brutal truth. If you want to be more confident at public speaking, then you're going to have to speak in public. If you want to be more confident at swimming, then you're going to have to swim. If you want to be more confident at, talking to people who you don't know, then you're going to have to talk to people that you don't know. The confidence comes from doing the thing, not beforehand. There are things, and there's a lot of things, but there are things that you can do which are going to help you with this massively. But the biggest thing is that you just have to do the stuff. I'm sorry. Awkward. Coming at you now with number 2. Oh my God, I'm just embarrassing. God. CBT, your negative thoughts. Now, if you haven't had CBT before, it's called cognitive behavioural therapy. It's a way of logically picking apart thoughts that you have in your head and challenging them to help you feel better. Because bottom line is the way we talk to ourselves and the way that we think has a direct impact on the way we feel. That's probably the shortest explanation of CBT ever, but it's pretty accurate. So how do we do this? We have to spot thoughts that are going on in our head. If you're not very confident, it's typically, I can't do this because, I can't do that because, if I was more confident, then I would, these sorts of thoughts. So spot these thoughts that are like popping into your head and challenge them. Actually say, hang on a minute, is that true? Here's a list of questions that you can ask. Is thinking this making me feel more or less confident? Does what I'm thinking have any evidence to back it up? Would thinking the opposite of this be helpful? Would I say something so kind and so unhelpful to a best friend trying to do the same thing as me? How true is what I'm really thinking as a percentage? Where is this thought getting me? What would be a more constructive thing to be thinking? Is what I'm thinking an opinion or a fact? Would my friends agree with this thought? Am I imagining a worst case scenario? What is the best case scenario? Realistically, what is likely to happen? Realistically, what is the worst thing that could happen? Do I know what other people are thinking? Am I projecting my insecurities into the other people's heads? Am I ignoring some good things which are true as well? Clearly, you don't have to ask all those questions, but hopefully a few of them will have resonated with you, and the sort of things that will actually pop into your head when you start having these thoughts, and then you get an answer back. And then once you've got that answer back, you can go, yeah, actually thinking that is making me feel like shit, so I'm going to stop thinking that, I'm going to think this instead. And this is how you use your CBT to actually help you feel better and more confident about doing stuff by getting those thoughts, challenging them, and then twisting them to actually be in reality rather than this kind of low confidence brain of yours, which just simply doesn't need to be that way anymore. Thumbs up if you like my Elsa mug. Notice and stop negative self-talk. Now, this is kind of similar to what I just said about kind of CBTing and negative thoughts, but it's a little bit more short and blunt than that. Quite often when we're doing something, there can be this kind of annoying self-critic in our head that, you know who I mean, this voice that says, you can't do this, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing that, or blah, 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 blah. Just the self-critic voice, the one that's it's just a bit of a dick, basically. It's like the dick version of you that doesn't want you to do the things that you want to do because it doesn't believe in you as much as you believe in yourself. Now, it helps, actually, if you can give this self-critic actually a name. So let's pick up an example here. Let's imagine that you had a really bad night's sleep, but you managed to get off your ass, you got yourself into your running clothes, and you're going out for your morning run. You're like 2 minutes out the door, and this kind of self-critic voice goes, you know what, it'd be so much easier if we just went home now. You could just have a very quick shower, get changed into your work clothes, and actually we could fit in an episode of The Sopranos before you actually go to sleep. Why don't we do that instead? Do you know what I'm talking about? That kind of thing in your head that says, no, don't do this. No. Do the easier thing. Do the really easy thing that gets us nowhere. Let's do the easy thing. Rather than the CBT stuff, if you just get that really blunt, we should be doing something else voice in your head, just give that voice a name. Karen's a good one, obviously, but just if that comes in your head, it's shut up, Tim, I've had enough of your shit, I'm running, all right? You don't have to say that out loud, especially if you're in public and you are running, you are going to look crazy. But you know what I mean, just to say, damn it, Tim, I've had enough. Nothing against anyone called Tim. Tim's just a random name that popped in my head. But just tell Tim or Karen or Sebastian or Velveteen. Velveteen's not a name, it's a rabbit. Ignore me. Whatever that name is, just tell them to shut up and to say, look, I'm getting on with my run, I'm getting on with this presentation, I'm getting on with talking, I'm getting on with whatever you're getting on with, and just do it. Be your future self. So what you can do is imagine, I don't know anyone. I don't think I know anyone that doesn't want to be different in some way. People that want to be thinner or fatter or taller or shorter or, whatever. People want to feel more normal. They want to fit in. They want to do something a little bit different. Some of that's changeable, some of it isn't, but, most of it just comes from mindset, essentially. But if you imagine what the future version of you would be like, let that future version of you make all of your decisions for you. So if you get put in a situation where you don't want to do something because you don't feel confident enough to do it, just ask yourself, what would the future, more confident version of myself do in this situation? And whatever that answer is, you do it. If the future version would be like, yeah, I'd lap up that opportunity and I'd love every second of doing it as well, then that's what you do, right? By acting more confident and doing the things that the confident version of you would do, you become more confident, allowing you to do more of the things that you want to do, so you become more confident, and you see it's a spiral that just goes up. Clever. I'm going to stop winking. I've got to stop winking and pointing at the camera. I look like a twat. Here's the caveat though, number 5, that you've got to actually remember you are a human being, and the worst thing you can possibly do is actually compare yourself to this perfect version of you, because perfect is not achievable in any sense whatsoever, and it doesn't even exist in some contexts if we're perfectly honest. Perfectly. But yeah, you're human and you're supposed to feel your full range of emotions. So if the future version of you said, yeah, I 100% do that opportunity, but the thought of doing that opportunity makes you want to rip your guts in half because it hurts so much inside because you feel like you've been punched, then don't do it. There are some steps which are just going to be too soon. Building self-confidence is much better done in lots of little steps, and it kind of has to be done in lots of little steps rather than huge leaps and bounds. So if something, triggers in your way that you say, oh my God, I just simply can't do that, then don't do it, and don't beat yourself up for not doing it. Find something you can do which is a bit better than what you'd normally do. So if you can't do the whole thing, then just do a little bit of the thing, because doing a little bit of the thing is much better than not doing the thing, and is also better than making yourself feel god-awful by trying to do the whole thing. So do a little bit rather than doing the big thing if you're not comfortable doing it. With all self-development, with overcoming self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues, with anxiety issues, low mood, depression, whatever it might be, the most important thing, and I mean it sincerely, is to practice self-compassion and just be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up for anything that doesn't go completely perfectly, and just reward yourself and celebrate your successes, which we'll go into later as well, because you're human and you're probably a nice person, and, be nice to yourself. Don't be a dick. So that was part 1 of how to become more self-confident. If you want to find out when part 2 is available, then you can subscribe to this thingy jig. Like me, follow me. You know what I'm talking about. Do those things if you're interested in finding out more. And if you're not, then I'm sorry for wasting however long this video ended up being. But yeah, part 2 will be out soon.